having me here and a few of my friends in the college. And I just had a terrific tour of the advanced manufacturing laboratory and got to talk with the instructor and 4 of the students, all of whom are high school students, who are doing what you have described as the great opportunity to mix your high school years with college learning and college credits as you move forward. And I am really pleased to be at a community college that is so visionary and effective in trying to serve as a bridge for people who are non-traditional, but coming back to add to their skills, all the way to high school students who are taking advantage of the opportunities. And the cooperation between the college and the high school is something I want to see a lot more of. This is a real model for how we can provide more continuous learning starting in high school, but going as far as necessary to help better prepare not only young people, but all people for the economy that is awaiting us. And before we get started, because I want to hear from each of you, I want a little more information about what you see as the challenges that you face in your education, both as students and as educators, and the opportunities that you hope to be able to take advantage of. I just want to tell you a little bit about why I'm here today. I think we all know that Americans have come back from some pretty tough economic times. And our economy and our country are much better off because American families have basically done whatever it took to make it work. But I think it's fair to say that as you look across the country, the deck is still stacked in favor of those already at the top. And there's something wrong with that. There's something wrong when CEOs make 300 times more than the typical worker. There's something wrong when American workers keep getting more productive as they have, and as I just saw a few minutes ago, is very possible because of education and skills training, but that productivity is not matched in their paychecks. And there's something wrong when hedge fund managers pay lower tax rates than nurses or the truckers that I saw on I-80 as I was driving here over the last 2 days. And there's something wrong when students and their families have to go deeply into debt to be able to get the education and skills they need in order to make the best of their own lives. And I looked at the figures. The average Iowa graduate from a four-year college comes out with nearly $30,000 in debt. And that's, I think, the 9th highest debt load in the country. And people are struggling. I met earlier today with a young student who is piecing together work and loans, knowing full well he's going to come out owing a lot of money. So we've got to figure out in our country how to get back on the right track. And I'm running for president because I think that Americans and their families need a champion. And I want to be that champion. I want to stand up and fight for people so that they can not just get by, but they can get ahead and they can stay ahead. And a lot of people in the last few days have asked me, well, why do you want to do this and what motivates you? And I've thought a lot about it, and I guess the short answer is I've been fighting for children and families my entire adult life, probably because of my mother's example. She had a really difficult childhood, was mistreated, neglected, but she never gave up. She had to basically be on her own at the time she was 14, and she just kept going. And my father, who was a small businessman and just believed that you had to work hard to make your way and do whatever you had to do to be successful, and provided a good living for our family. And then I was thinking too about the lessons I learned from my church. That you're supposed to give back. You're supposed to do what you can to help others. And that's what I try to do. And we'll have more time to talk about that as we go forward. when I got out of law school, I worked for the Children's Defense Fund, and one of the projects there was literally going door to door. This was back in the 70s when kids with disabilities were basically shut out of our schools. And thanks to your great former Senator, Tom Harkin, that's no longer the case. But I was knocking on doors saying, is there anybody school age not in school? And finding blind kids and deaf kids and kids in wheelchairs who were just left out. And I was able in Arkansas to work to try to improve education there and give more kids chances who really deserved them. And then as First Lady to fight for healthcare reform and keep fighting till we got healthcare insurance for kids. And then as Senator, dealing with the problems that faced New York after 9/11 and trying to help people get whatever they needed. The victims' families, the first responders, and it was an incredible honor to do that. And then as Secretary of State, standing up for our country. So when I look at where we are as a country, I'm just so absolutely convinced that there isn't anybody anywhere who can outcompete us, who has better values, who can do more to provide more people the chance to live up to their own God-given potential. But we can't take that for granted. And so I want to be the champion who goes to bat for Americans in 4 big areas, 4 big fights that I think we have to take on, because there are those who don't agree with what I think we should be doing, and they're pretty powerful forces. We need to build the economy of tomorrow, not yesterday. We need to strengthen families and communities, because that's where it all starts. We need to fix our dysfunctional political system and get unaccountable money out of it once and for all, even if that takes a constitutional amendment. And we need to protect our country from the threats that we see and the ones that are on the horizon. So I'm here in Iowa to begin a conversation about how we do that, and to hear from people about what's on your mind, what the challenges you see are. And I'm going to work hard to meet as many people. I'll be rolling out ideas and policies about what I think will work, but I want it to be informed by what's actually working, and to build on what works going forward, and to stand up against those who have a different vision of our country, a different one that I grew up with, and a different one that I think is best for everybody. So with that, what I'd love to do is just ask a few questions and hear from folks about what their experiences have been, and try to learn what you think would be ways of helping more young people get the kind of education they need without having the personal bank be broken and put you and your family at financial risk. And Andrew, if I could start with you, you're going to Naval Academy.